Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here to provide your coronavirus update for Sunday, May 3rd, 2020. Let's start with the numbers, shall we? According to Johns Hopkins University, when it comes to the worldwide total, that sits at 3,502,126 cases. When it comes to the global death toll, that number is reported to be at 247,107 people. When it comes to recoveries, that number is at 1,124,127. And Johns Hopkins notes that the most number of reported recoveries are in the United States, that number being 180,152 people have recovered. Moving on to the figures from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. In the United States, the total number of cases is at 1,122,486, which is an increase in new cases of 29,671. When it comes to total deaths, that number's at 65,735 people, which is 1,452 new deaths compared to yesterday. Looking at the Wyoming Department of Health, the total number of laboratory-confirmed cases in Wyoming is now at 435, and there are 151 probable cases. People showing symptoms and having had contact with those confirmed, but still lacking the test confirmation. We're fortunate in that our death toll remains in single digits at 7. In Sweetwater County, we remain unchanged from yesterday. We still have 11 lab-confirmed cases and 7 probable. When it comes to the recovery count, overall, the Wyoming Department of Health is reporting 391 recovered cases. And in Sweetwater County, that includes 15 people who are reported to be completely recovered from the virus. Now, one thing I'd like to go on about today is something that I've been filling some of my free time with, and that's a game called Plague Inc. I've got the trailer playing behind me here. It's the object of the game is simple, is to take a virus or a bacteria, a spore, maybe even a genetically engineered bug, and destroy the human race. The premise is admittedly dark. I'll admit I'm one of those people that, not all the time, but I sometimes take shelter in sarcasm or dark humor. And whether it's playing a zombie uprising, or a plague of vampires, or one of my favorite modes is a Planet of the Apes, to suppress the humans and have the monkeys take over. That's one of my preferred ones. I find this an interesting form of diversion, and not only just when it comes to entertainment, but also just redirecting my efforts. It also in some ways reinforces things unexpectedly. There are certain things like there may be a news report saying that, okay, these countries have closed its borders. That lets you know that, oh, your spread of your virus is going to be limited here. Or in some cases, it's already too late. That may have already spread through the region, and just because Saudi Arabia closed its borders doesn't mean that the spread's going to halt all that much. I also find just the settings of the game are a bit telling. If for a casual game, which is the lowest, easiest setting, you want to just have a quick game. Under those conditions, they say that no one washes their hands, research doctors don't work, and sick people are given hugs. Under a normal setting, their preconditions are 67.3% of people wash their hands, doctors work 3 days a week, and sick people are ignored. Ouch. There's a societal commentary. In the next bit up, the brutal setting, you have compulsive hand washing, doctors never go home, and sick people are locked in prison. Which is certainly what I know some people are feeling like right now. And as you go along, you can change different ways that you can add different symptoms to your virus as you go through different things and get points. You can change the way that it's spread, whether, now it's spread by animals as well as humans, or now it's more airborne than it was before, or now it's more apt to be drug resistant. So richer countries with better health systems might be more susceptible to the virus than before you mutated it that way. It's also interesting sometimes where, honestly, there have been a number of times where I lost the game because I made the germ or the virus too deadly too quick. Something that kills people faster than it can infect people doesn't make for a good virus, which is good for the human race and bad for the virus. And it's interesting how in some cases just making your virus just a little bit less deadly, making the incubation period longer, will make for a much more effective game-winning run. Now these are extremes. We're fortunate that the coronavirus that we face are not near as deadly as these scenarios, whether it's the vampires coming out of their lairs to draft armies of the undead, or monkeys on horseback with guns, or we're certainly not facing the zombie onslaught. But it does sometimes make me stop and think about am I being as active when it comes to washing my hands? Am I, after so long, am I getting tempted to drop my guard and maybe not put on that face mask? That's just me personally. I'm leaving the decision up to everybody individually. Yeah, I think the Rocket Miners' encouragement on this matter is of note, and I think that the people behind the game, Plague Inc., are similarly inclined. They've done a couple of things in recent moves. They've donated $250,000 toward coronavirus fighting efforts. For a game that came out in 2012, they've kind of stayed within the top standings for a long time, and they've just spiked since January in the United States and across America. It's up to you whether or not you want to use that as something that you want to try to take your mind off things, or maybe like me, just kind of redirect your thinking, or just maybe cause you to stop and think. The game developers, and their small group, are currently working on a new mode to stop an outbreak. They're working from the reverse. Okay, the world's completely infected. How do we stop it in its track and get things back to normal? I know when that mode comes out, I am going to be playing that a lot. One other thing, just because I don't want to leave you on such a morose note. This is my favorite picture from the Associated Press Wire today. And if you can hear him in the background, you're also hearing my own cat. That's a aerial view of Kathmandu in Nepal. Right now, the home of the Himalayas, to control the spread of the virus, they have extended their lockdown to May 7th for local residents, and the closure of the international border to at least May 13th. But life goes on. And it's a little... I like dogs and cats. I prefer cats, but sometimes it's the little things that give me a smile. Also, having looked at this picture a bit, I didn't quite realize there's one lone brick out of the way. I'm sure when the person who was laying down the bricks that day didn't realize that one day that worker's output would be disseminated throughout the world for people to see in the time when we're still restricted with what we can do, but still, but at the same time looking for ways to connect and reflect, and whenever possible, smile. That's what I'm trying to do. I hope you're finding ways to help you achieve the same. I'm Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow.